Welcome to the new Sex and Happiness with Lori Handlers and her partner Michael Gibson. You're about to dive into a world where amazing sex is just around the corner. And happiness is available to everyone at any age. It's time to learn a little, laugh a little, and explore sex and intimacy from every angle.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Lori.
What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about something that we found ourselves having a really deep conversation at the dinner table the other night, and that is...
Yeah, we're going to talk about being legitimate.
That's a good way to put it.
Too legit to quit.
That's right.
We're going to talk about being legitimate, like being a legitimate facilitator in your knowledge base and being a legitimate coach. And we're talking about it. There was recently an article in Elephant Journal, and the title of the article was "Go Fuck Your Coaching Practice." And some friends of mine had comments about that, about people calling themselves a coach. You know, people saying, I don't want to call myself a coach because it's so blown out of proportion now. I don't know exactly what the words
Ubiquitous,
are.
I think is the word.
Oh, I wouldn't even know that word. That's like a $10 word. Anyway, we're going to talk about it because people often don't know who to go to. They don't know who's real and who's not real. They don't know what does it take to become somebody who's legitimate in their field. So this isn't, coaching isn't a regulated field. Tantra's not a regulated field. Listen, when I started Tantra, there were like 5 top teachers, and then there was a tier of people who came in after them, and I was one of those. There might have been like another 7 or something. And there was nobody else doing Tantra. Nobody even knew what Tantra was when I started teaching Tantra. Like I would go out and people would say, what do you do? And I would say, I teach a kind of yoga. Like I was too embarrassed to say that I was teaching something that had to do with sexuality because the culture wasn't ready for it yet. Now there's a Tantra teacher on every corner. It's like Starbucks Tantra. So
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
So the question really is, for people who are looking for help, for people who are looking for education, who are looking to do transformation and growth themselves, how do you vet a coach? And how do you vet a teacher? We talk all the time about how you vet a partner. That's part of our sex and happiness agenda. Yeah. How do you vet your partner? What questions did you ask your partner? It's not just based on chemistry and on looks. Yeah. Or whatever it is that you've been doing to choose a partner. Well, how do you choose a coach? And how do you choose a facilitator? And I had a lot to say to you about it.
You did. In fact, you were sharing with me some of the comments that one of your colleagues had written about this article, and it was fascinating. It was a very charged conversation, and one of the things that I think charged us up was that there are so many who are entering this field right now, charging a lot for their time, and I don't know that they're getting results, and I don't know that they're qualified to do the work anyway. And this is the difficult part of it, where you're going to find somebody who maybe has a lot of personality and a lot of
enrollment skills,
and but they're not very good at coaching, or they may feel like they're talented at it, but haven't put in much work around, other than just reading a book or maybe taking a coaching class or a workshop or something like that.
No, they got coached themselves, and then they went, oh, this seems easy, I should do it.
That's one way, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this a little bit. And it's a sticky, we know that it's a sticky and a touchy subject because we could be disqualifying some people. But the thing we were talking about it specifically is about intimacy coaching and like who qualifies to be an intimacy coach and what are they teaching you about intimacy. Right. And there's a lot of very, Michael and I do intimacy coaching. We coach couples and we do live, I did a new hashtag we live this shit. We do.
It's good.
So how do you choose someone? First of all, it would be really good if they wrote a book. Let's start with that. 2, it would be really good if they actually had some training. So like real training, not just that they took one course and they read one article and then they labeled themselves a coach, but that they paid the dues.
They went through some kind of maybe an apprenticeship program, like the one that you have, or they put themselves through a real coaching, an accredited
certification programs. Yeah, that they do that, and then they call themselves something like an intimacy coach. I'm just going to say that I have to say this. I'm not going to name any names here, but I am going to say, I left my Tantra teacher because I didn't believe she was living the work. And she's a really good Tantra teacher. She was one of the ones that I mentioned that when there were 5, she was one of them. But I feel like the others that I didn't go to were actually living it. While she had the knowledge base, but she wasn't living it. And after like 3-4 years of being with her, I couldn't make it reconcile with me anymore. Like that here is a person who has the knowledge and the skills and isn't really living the skills and isn't really practicing the practices.
Yeah.
And so I had to leave that teacher because I felt like there was an inauthenticity there. There was like a falseness, even though I learned tons of stuff from her. When I found my next 2 Tantra teachers to teach me, they were actually a couple, and they were living it. They were loving it. They were practicing the practices, and they taught me how to access information by myself, how to ask the question and then how to incubate and receive the answer from the universe, and so I practiced that after that. But there was a marked difference.
There you go.
In the quality of them to the quality of my original teacher, and she was much more well known.
Yeah, I mean, imagine selecting an accountant, for instance, or a business coach. Or something that had to do with money. And then you find out that they are, $20 million in debt.
Or they're driving a shit can car.
And it's not good debt, right?
They don't,
right? Things are not going well for them.
I actually have changed accountants because of that. I've changed doctors because of that.
Yeah.
I would never, I remember going to a gynecologist once with my mother. And the gynecologist was overweight and smoking a cigar. And I thought...
It's a healthcare worker.
Do I want to have this person look at me and my private parts?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
No.
So I changed doctors. I said to my mother, I never want to go to that doctor again.
Yeah.
Did you see that doctor? Like, so if the person isn't healthy, how can they teach me about my health?
Right.
If the person isn't making money, how can they teach me about my money? And it's the same thing. If the person isn't having intimacy in their life, if the person isn't doing the tantric practice, look, if you're a solo practitioner and you say that to people and you don't pretend to be an intimacy coach, you're just teaching the skills of tantra, okay. But to say that you're an intimacy coach when your intimate relationships fail and keep failing and you don't have any thing to show for it. I mean, really, like a relating that you can show for it. I called myself a sex and happiness coach because I realized I was writing about sex and happiness. I didn't say I was an intimacy coach literally until you and I got into relating. And then I could say, wow, here's 2 people really living the practices that I talk about in my book.
Yeah.
And we can coach other people on that and tell them where they're falling short. Some people... we've had some coaching clients who didn't want to do the practices.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
We have, yeah.
And we said we screened them. We said we're going to teach you some practices. They're going to change your life if you do it.
Right.
And they didn't want to do it. So we, okay, next.
Yeah. And they're the practices you and I use to stay in that fresh relating. So and we can talk about what we feel couples get stuck in. And there's so many different ways, but the really simple ways that we get stuck is not knowing what to do in the face of an emotional experience. So you're going to need someone if you're looking for an intimacy coach who actually knows what to do, like who knows how to take that and then turn it into a win. And so, yeah, I got to say that, the struggle that we find ourselves in today in this era is we're all locked away, locked down in close quarters, and we're being inundated by a whole world of coaches and intimacy coaches that are charging a lot of money that we need to be careful about. And so that's sort of,
so
I guess.
So you need to vet them. You need to ask.
Our warning.
First of all, you want to find out, are they in a relationship?
Right.
Then you want to find out, did they write a book? Then you want to find out, are they writing a book? You want to find out where they've been certified. You want to find out more things. You have to ask the proper questions, just like the coach has to ask you the proper questions. We need to coach you on getting a coach.
That's a good. We should call this podcast "Coaching on Getting a Coach."
Yeah,
love it.
It's funny. Someone once wanted me to be certified in his coaching way, and I was like, "Really? I really don't want to pay you for that." I said, I've been coaching since before you knew what a coach was. So I'm not interested in your certification program.
Right.
But I can say that. I can say that with like ease and grace because I've been doing such. But anyway, I just feel like it's a very important time, what Michael just said. It's a very important time in life right now where people are needy.
Yeah.
People are needy and people are reaching out because life threw us some curved balls. And so we want you to be cautious and careful about who you select to coach you.
That's right.
And we're not saying we're the best. I think we're the best. I do.
A little biased, are you?
I am biased.
It's all right.
I think we're hey, you know what? I certainly paid my dues.
Yeah.
And I'm writing a new book. Actually it's finished. It's not out yet. I'm working on the publisher right now, but I just wrote a new book called Sex and Happiness Over 60. It only gets better.
Yeah.
Can I coach people over 50 who want to have a juicy, sexy life? I certainly can.
Yes, you can.
I live that. And then we're halfway through the next book called Sex and Happiness for Lovers. And that's our coaching, our intimacy coaching, and how we coach couples and prevent them from like killing each other or fighting all the time or getting stuck in resentment and revenge. And can we coach on that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because we don't hold on to stuff like that. We return to love.
That's it.
So anyway, we're not, you may not need us or you may need us. If you need us, great. Let us know and we'll see if we can work with you. If you don't need us, but you need another kind of coach, I have a cadre of coaches that I'm willing to turn you on to. They're all sex and happiness coaches. They've been certified by me. And I'd love to introduce you to them and send you down a path that could like really help you rather than cost you an arm and a leg and maybe leave you in the same place.
Yeah. In this hour, I think the access to support is probably one of the most important assets that you have. So yeah, definitely look in. And by the way, you can find all of Lori's coaches at LoriHandlers.com, and you can find out more about Lori's history, where she's been, what she's been up to, and what she's done, and also purchase her book and some other things. Yeah,
and you can find out about my apprentice program because I really do train people to be coaches and facilitators.
Yeah.
And they go through a year-long process with me, and I'm not afraid to kick their asses.
Indeed.
They would be happy to tell you that.
Yeah.
So I believe in rising people up. I just want them to rise up and have the knowledge and the skills that it takes to actually be effective in people's lives.
Yeah, yeah. That's excellent. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I coached you.
You did. I went through your program, and now I get to. I have the privilege. I actually did go through a program. I am a certified sex and happiness coach, and at the same time, now I have the privilege of coaching inside of those apprenticeship programs. It's a lot of fun to see people go through the process, and the process has grown and advanced over the years. So, I highly recommend it. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway, this wasn't supposed to be a commercial. This
No.
really was supposed to just talk about the idea that there's a lot of people out there that the buzzword these days is coach or coaching. And there are some cautions, and that's why the article came out in Elephant Journal. And you could probably find it if you want to read it. It's pretty scathing, to say the least.
Confronting is a good word too.
And so we just wanted to talk about it as a subject. All right, so we hope you enjoyed this. We hope it was eye-opening for you. And a couple things. One is we'd like to remind you that we have a retreat coming up, a luxury retreat coming up in Honduras, which is March 9th to the 15th, called Extraordinary Lovers Luxury Retreat. And we would love to have you join us if you are considering what to do if you're in a relationship or if you're not. We'd love to have you join us in Honduras.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right. And I also want to let you know that I have another podcast called From the Boardroom to the Bedroom. And I'd like you to search that and find out more about that. That's for high power women who run companies of their own or run companies of somebody else's, who don't know how to turn off being powerful and as a decision maker all day, and then how to get into a nightie at home and be sexy. Like they don't know how to make that transition.
Go from the CEO sports suit to the
lingerie.
Vixen lingerie.
Like
seduction.
It's a pretty funny show.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so I'd love to have you check that out too. Yeah. Anyway, Laurie Handlers and Michael Gibson signing off for now.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for coming to Sex and Happiness.
It's time to feel alive again. Extraordinary Lovers Luxury Couples Retreat is designed to ignite your sexuality, communication, and ease with your partner, all while enjoying the bounties of paradise. Join world-class Tantra teachers Laurie Handlers and Michael Gibson as they share how to access new levels of ease, trust, and intimacy. Drink in the gorgeous oceans and beaches of Roatan's most luxury private resort. This small by design retreat will not only make you feel safe to explore with your partner, but also find true depth and connection with other couples in attendance. This retreat includes 7 days and 6 nights of accommodations, all your meals included, and full days of transformational processes and teachings, all situated on a picturesque, clothing-optional beach and forest. Book now to reserve your spot in Roatan with us.